October 19th, 2015, election night in Canada. Record numbers of Canadians head to the polls, desperate for change. The result? Justin Trudeau is elected Prime Minister, a young leader, a new message. My friends, it's time for real change. Crowds cheer his name. Canadians believe the dream is alive. Affordable homes, a brighter future, a golden age for the middle class. But fast forward to today, that dream has collapsed. Housing prices at record highs, food banks turning away the hungry, immigrants leaving in record numbers. The Canadian dream has become a nightmare. This is the dark side of Canada. If you talk to ordinary Canadians, most will tell you the same thing. They feel hopeless about the future. As kids, they dreamed of a home, a family, a safe neighborhood. But in today's Canada, that dream is fantasy. To buy the average home nationwide, a family now needs to earn $170,000 a year. In Vancouver, that number jumps to $360,000. Now compare that with the median family income of just $70,000. The math is brutal. For most Canadians, homeownership isn't delayed. It's impossible. The sad part? It wasn't always like this. Decades ago, housing was affordable. Wages kept up. Families had hope. But in just one generation, prices soared so far, so fast, that homeownership is slipping permanently out of reach. And if you think renting is the solution, think again. Vacancy rates across Canada are at historic lows, just 1.5%. That means hundreds of applicants competing for every single unit. Renters feel trapped. Some face impossible choices. Pay rent or pay for food and heat, but not both. And landlords know it. They raise rents relentlessly. In Toronto and Vancouver, the average one-bedroom now costs nearly $3,000 a month. After taxes and rent, there's barely anything left to live on. Canadians are skipping meals, working multiple jobs, sleeping in cars, and more than ever before, they're drowning in debt. Today, Canada has the third highest household debt-to-GDP ratio on Earth. So how did this happen? Critics point to the Trudeau government. Since 2016, nearly 3 million immigrants have been admitted, the largest wave in Canadian history. Add to that more than 1 million foreign students. Suddenly, demand skyrocketed, while supply remained frozen. Basic economics, more people, fewer homes, higher prices. And it's young Canadians who pay the price, competing with new arrivals for the same limited apartments and entry-level homes. Some students at the University of British Columbia now live in vans or commute by plane because it's cheaper than rent. Rooming houses squeeze 5 or 6 people into a single bedroom. But immigration alone isn't the whole story. Canada has underbuilt housing for decades. CIBC estimates the country needs 5 million new homes by 2030 to restore affordability. Developers say it's impossible. Why? Because local governments block development. Homeowners fight new builds. Politicians fear losing votes. Permits drag on for years. And layers of taxes add up to 20% on the cost of every home. And yet, the government itself has grown faster than the population. From 2020 to 2023, British Columbia's public sector grew 23%. The private sector, just 1%. Bigger government, higher costs, slower housing, and the final nail in the coffin? Foreign money. For years, Canada has been a safe haven for offshore cash. A government report confirmed it. Billions in laundered money has flowed into real estate. Toronto, Vancouver, prices pushed out of reach. And what has Ottawa done to stop it? Almost nothing. But housing is just one piece of the nightmare. Food prices are climbing at double-digit rates. 2 million Canadians now rely on food banks, double what it was just a few years ago. Competition is non-existent. 80% of the grocery market is controlled by a handful of chains. Bread alone is dominated by just 2 players. And then there's supply management, government policies that protect dairy, poultry, and eggs. The cost? An extra $450 a year for the average family. For some, that's the difference between paying rent or going hungry. The government insists it's helping, but most Canadians feel the opposite. Take the carbon tax, sold as a climate measure. But in reality, it raised the cost of gas and heating to record levels. Canadians already spend more on fuel than any G7 country. When outrage boiled over in Atlantic Canada, where families rely on fuel oil, the government was forced to retreat. Even the parliamentary budget officer confirmed, once you account for economic impact, most households are worse off. And this isn't limited to energy. Telecom bills in Canada are the highest in the world. Internet, Cell phones, 7 times more expensive than Australia, 1,000 times more expensive than Finland. And when Rogers acquired Shaw, reducing competition even further, the government let it happen. Banking, the same story. A few big players control everything. New banks are almost impossible to start, and Canadians now pay hundreds of dollars more per year in fees compared to peers in the UK or Australia. The truth is simple. Canada is one of the most expensive countries on earth to live in, and yet wages are stagnant. Since 2019, economic productivity has fallen. While the US went up 6%, Canada went down. Private investment is fleeing. Businesses prefer to invest abroad. Startups and top talent leaving for the US in record numbers. 7% of Canadians now move south every year, chasing higher pay and lower costs. The result? Less innovation, less growth, more decline. For hard-working Canadians, it feels like the walls are closing in. For decades, Canada was sold as the land of opportunity. Affordable homes, safe neighborhoods, a fair shot at the dream. But today that dream has been replaced by debt, despair, and disillusion. The Canadian dream hasn't just faded. For millions, it's dead. And if nothing changes soon, the nightmare is only beginning.